Thinkers. Scientists and mystics face off from opposite sides of a continental divide. They line up in two groups, big thinkers, gaze over one another's shoulders. One team says, we make the world, and the other team says, the world makes us. The pure materialism scientists and atheists comprise the latter group. Plato, Stone, Buddha, Jung, Freud, C.S. Lewis, Husserl, Steiner, Nadler, de Lubitsch, and Tolle are among the formidable players on the opposite team. Their team starts inside our perceptions of the world with full acknowledgement that we are equipped with mental forms and innate comprehension of natural laws. Science does not hold that human perception is a proper starting place because there's one world, it's out there, it's measurable, waiting to be discovered. Feelings and mentations can be seen as mere epiphenomenon rising off the material like a mist. Social scientists, and much of the media, are as birds on a wire, objectively looking down at all of us, seemingly unaware that their very proclamations impact that which they study. This puts them about 100 years behind physics, which was smacked by seeing that how they look impacts what they see. What seems objective is subjective. The other team bypasses this gap by starting with awareness, which is already in the subjective. Awareness and freedom occur inside, not outside. They shape the objective material that we see and in which we act. To them, the ever-presence of awareness is as fundamental as is the material to the materialists. Plato holds that the ideal realm is comprised of forms, relationships, principles, and natural laws. Things change. Form is eternal. It's a priori to experience. Form is not educated. It is as if recalled. You do not learn that there's a circle or a triangle from the world. You see something in the world and it fits form already existent in awareness. Each material instance of a form is imperfect when compared to the ideal. For Plato, it's not all as simple as geometric forms. A good architect has touched form of building structure. A good judge has touched form of justice. True lovers have touched form of love. We are unique in our relationship to forms. Some recall form of mathematics. Others recall form of music. Others recall form of sport. Others recall form of parenthood. Every good human recalls form of the good. Each of us may not succeed at approaching pure form at every moment, but form shapes acts and our reactions to acts. Humans are endowed with form as we are endowed with limbs and organs. For Plato, the ideal realm reigns supreme. Sasha Stone thinks spontaneously like Plato when he puts it this way, which is paraphrased from a 11/2/2020 YouTube. Once you have ignited that consciousness that is going to come from a journey that begins within the self, and self-actualization emerges, all of a sudden, you are in the quantum realm, which is, to say, the universal mind. You move into coherence with pure truth. We all know what pure truth is because we're all born with a navigational tool that tells right from wrong. Buddha also believed in the supremacy of mind over matter, or you might say, right brain over left. When people question Buddha for worldly answers about mystical things, for example, is there life after death, he would stop. How can one communicate the divine to one whose feet are planted in material empiricism? How can one look for an answerer outside of himself when the answer is inside himself? Why even try? He would answer, wrong question. The right question might be something like, what can I do to discover the truth inside me? Quite like Plato, Jung rhapsodized about the force of what he called archetypes. We live in the material world, but into it we carry immaterial tools to whack our paths and forge our stories. Freud was Jung's teacher, but when Jung graduated and ventured out on his own, he was drawn into the immaterial world of symbolism, synchronicity, magic, even astrology. When he returned to his teacher, Freud rebuked him for his newfound woo-woo, and they parted ways forevermore. Each was excited about the treasures in one realm and not in the other. Jung then became the spirit behind AA. For to get a sponsor in AA, one must acknowledge a higher power. Giving over to a higher power allows the miracle of sobriety to occur. Freud urges us to look inward to our early individual history to see and admit that we're not whole. Jung urges us to look outward to the collective consciousness to fit in to the whole. Is one right and one wrong? Wrong question. Both are. In C.S. Lewis's The Screwtape Letters, the devil writes to Wormwood, his nephew, and a student devil, that we humans, he calls us patients, are amphibians. The devil drags us down to the water to focus on our animal needs. And God, Screwtape calls him the enemy, draws our little feet up onto the earth where we can see the light. Most of us go back and forth between our higher selves and our all-wet selves. The turning point is within us, the switch waiting for our will. The philosopher Edmund Husserl founded phenomenology as a starting point of human perception from the spacious inside looking out at the crammed material world. Phenomenologically, the world is perceived, felt, built. To be human is to feel, sense, interpret, and bestow meaning. Rudolf Steiner followed in Husserl's phenomenological footsteps. He called materialism a passing phenomenon in human evolution, and one so many still cling to. Following him, Jeremy Nadler says that the ancient Egyptian civilization can only be understood phenomenologically. We must get inside the ancients' experience of world creation to understand the Egypt they created. Egyptians were not poor scientists. We are poor creationists. Our understanding is limited by a value judgment, our sense of superiority. Egyptologist de Lubitsch intermingles realities in the very title of his book, Sacred Science. Egyptian artists, craftsmen, creators genuflected to the laws of reality and implanted Genesis in drawing and building and sound, honoring the possible and inviting participants to complete the possibilities in every moment of use. One didn't visit a temple, one participates with a temple, and the temple participates back. Practicing gurus struggle to give the nameless a name. They come up with clumsy words such as isness. Isness, it makes a noun out of being, and is too clumsy for the light grace of truth. Eckhart Tolle calls it the now, another noun that has almost become a cliché. Only true poetry can avoid this imprisonment, for each word in a great poem provides release from words, like the breaking of droplets at a waterfall. When you're asked for your first recollection from childhood, I promise you that it will be a moment of rich awareness that attracts you. It brings you back to a particular moment when you knew you were alive. In describing it, well, you may say, Mommy was doing this or Daddy did that, but the pull from the moment is this inner awareness, not the content. There we are, alive. Hello, world. We look back upon that self when we looked out from that awe. The preciously odd thing is the awe that we felt then is the same as the awe that we feel now. It's always fresh, yet it's always the same. We sit at the end of a pier looking into the night sky. We face a blank page as a writer, a blank canvas as a painter. silence as a composer, space as a dancer, a page as a reader. We awaken on a beach after an afternoon nap, or hear the crunch in a forest as our feet get in sync with our heartbeat. We stop for a bird or a bug or a flower or a shaft of light. You move in me or I in you, and there it is. Freedom, openness, awareness. We change over the years, but awareness does not. You are different from me and I from you, but we share awareness. The child, the elder, you, me. Freedom is there for us, and we can find it. Scientists, artists, philosophers, theologians, poets, gurus, and you. We each and all have our notions of being free or being automatons. We are the breathers or we are the breathed upons. In a free worldview, there's room for us all, but in a science-only worldview, there's no room for the non-empirical. For them, only the scientific reigns. And this leaves morality fragile. Let's see what happened to sociology as it gave up value-free investigation of social systems in favor of becoming a player.